Hey, it's Clay Trader, and this will be a video chart on GLDG. Before I get started, I would like to note to please check my IRP disclaimer. With that being said, interesting little chart here that's taking shape. One of these where it can be risky, but after waiting a little bit, the risk has subsided. So what do I mean by that? Well, not to point out the obvious here, but things were pretty rough on this day and this day with big volume. But it's one of those where with this big heavy volume, the question becomes where's the technical bounce going to potentially take place? And it's one thing to hop in it, on days like this or this. Sure, you can. That's where you could make the most money, but also that's where the risk is the highest. And because you're just guessing, as the saying goes, you're trying to catch a falling knife. But given it a little while, you can see now that the price has gone sideways for a bit of time and is now starting to head upwards. The other thing to note is volume has dropped off. So at this point, it looks like this day here, because when you correspond that with the volume bar, this day looks to have been the capitulation day, because from there, like I said, volume has dropped off. So the seller or whatever was causing this to occur seems to have been down. The other reason I like the risk now is the chart is putting in higher lows now. So that's always a key thing. And on that note, these are going to be the key levels of support. The first level of support being down here at 0.0135, and the next level being the low of this candle here, which was at 0.02. So besides looking to have found a bottom, the other thing that I like about this chart is just the nice upwards potential here. And what do I mean by that? Well, if we draw this line across from here, which was a previous low, and this area is at 5 cents, this is going to be the key level of resistance on the chart. And the interesting thing, and I should also mention that the 10-day simple moving average right here is valued at 0.049. So both these essentially match up here. But the interesting point is that after this level of resistance, the next level of resistance is not until up here at this purple line here, which is the 50-day simple moving average. And you could also just look at it as where all these lows were. So again, if you look at these, they're basically matching right up with each other. So this would be the next area of resistance. And when you look at here from 5 cents all the way up to basically 8.5 cents, you may be thinking, well, that's only 3.5 cents. But let's keep things in perspective. We're talking about a stock that is sub 10 cents. So the percentages add up very quickly. So sure, it may only be 3.5 cents between these two levels of resistance. But again, dealing with a sub 10 cent stock, percentagely speaking, this is quite a bit here. So nice upwards potential. And if there's nothing that says it would have to stop at 8.5 cents up here anyways. But in terms of just technical resistances, that's still quite a bit. But, after 8.5 cents, then you're not looking at resistances until, up here where all these highs occurred, which is at 12 cents. So, one step at a time, let's first break above 5 cents. But like I was saying, the point being, with this capitulation that looks to have taken place and a bounce underway here, there's quite a bit of upside potential here on a bounce. And sure, it's been heading upwards, but I wouldn't quite call this a bounce yet just because there hasn't been any volume here. I would call this more of just a bottom formation. So it's not like we're late to the party or anything for a bounce because, it's not like there's massive volume. So it does seem like the bottom is in, and now the question becomes, when's this official bounce really going to take place? Because when that does happen, as I've been alluding to already, the chart is showing us that there's nice upwards, possibilities here when the bounce finally does start to get some traction and begin to take off. And finally, the other thing I wanted to point out is down here on the MACD. Besides just the simple price action of the bottom being formed, you can see that during this nasty period, the MACD was clearly sloping down, but now we have it flattened out. So of course, price action is king, but at the end of the day, it's always nice to see secondary confirmation such as this on the MACD showing that this is flattened out. So encouraging to see there too that the MACD has seemed to have found bottom. Now all we need for this to do is curl up, cross above its signal line here, and the chart's going to be right back in business. So overall, nice looking chart. The risk is much better than what it was when it was just a falling knife here. So it's just a matter of seeing when this bounce really wants to get started here and see how much of this potential it's going to, basically suck up as it bounces upwards. So if there are any other questions on the chart, please let me know. If not, again, this was GLDG. Thanks for listening.